Here we are again. Today we're flying the P-38K. It's the P-38G airframe with some absolute bonkers engines, which makes you get these situations quite often where you're even above the people with an airspan. Of course, this map both sides got the airspan, so it doesn't really matter, but this is normally an airspan plane and you normally spawn on the same altitude, so it kind of evens the battleground here. And I'm fighting Skeptor, whatever you want to call it. He has 2500 kills in the Tower 152H. And he put up quite a good fight, so I decided to start off with this clip just to show you how this thing is even at altitude. And if you're wondering the same thing as Scepter does in the enemy chat, he asks, when does this thing lose power? And the basic answer to that is no. This thing is extremely strong up high, and to a degree it just keeps getting better. Of course it depends on what you're facing, but the P-38K has some extremely strong flaps, which you can of course drop because the IS is lower here. And the engine, the power output is absolutely insane. So the 152H, known for its absolute bonkers retention and its very good turn rate, especially at high altitude, I'm going to leave him completely dry of energy. He went into a downwards loop, and most planes he would be able to kill like this, but I'm in the P-38K. So what do? I drop my landing flaps. I go horizontal because I don't want to just go and stall in front of him, even though the range is quite far. If I'm stalled out, I'm quote unquote easy shot. He dies out. Smart thing to do, because this thing compresses extremely badly. Especially in the roll department. Once you start going fast and you try to roll, it just completely bricks. I'm turning to battlefield. Doesn't really matter as I'm turning in right now and I'm still going 700. I'm using my speed and my IES. My speed is my quote unquote real energy, and IES indicates how much I can actually turn. You can change this in the settings, and I highly recommend you to do so. If it distracts you, just use the one you're using right now. One isn't actually better than the other, but I do recommend you to run IES if you still have to choose one. 152H looks to be gaining on me for a little bit, but of course I'm going slightly diagonal and I'm above him by quite a margin. So if he tries to pitch up right now, I will be able to do the same thing, and he's going to be stalling out basically. Drop the landing flaps yet again. Don't want to overuse them because they do bleed some energy. Something I don't want to do. Top of the loop. Cut my throttle a little bit so I can get a little bit of a tighter turn here, because if I go too fast I will compress and I will just go underneath him. And I still go underneath him. Slight miscalculation, no biggie, we just go back up. Which is essentially all you're going to be doing in this plane. If people stay slow and they try to dogfight you, you will hand them their ass most of the time. The faster they go, the more tedious it becomes for you to kill them, as the compression on this thing is very bad. It's still a 3.7, 3.3 airframe. It might have some ridiculously strong engines, but they're literally too strong for the airframe, as going anywhere over 500 kph makes this thing very hard to fly. But of course this does make it so because you have this low tier engine, and of course this is a little bit not completely true, but most of the time the lower tier planes turn better than the higher tier planes. You just don't have the energy. This thing has both. Problem is, say you go against the 190, you go against the K4 that's just rolling about and that they're staying at 500, 600 kph, you're simply not going to hit them. And you will see plenty of that in the full gameplay, and you'll see a little bit of that versus the Japanese in the next video as well. He's diving out now, which is the smart thing to do yet again, because he doesn't have the energy to stay with me. And I'm going to chase him down. And how am I going to do this? I don't want to stay right on him. I don't want to chase him right back down to the deck, as that will make it so that I compress and maybe even rip my wings off. And now you can see my turn rate is completely gimped. And I'm just going up again. I want to try to keep these angles as steep as I can. The more energy I bleed, the harder I outperform this guy. Of course, it's still a Tower 152H, so I still want to be pretty careful, because he can, out-turn me, out-energy me to a certain degree. I have to play this relatively safe, but because I started on his 6, there isn't much he's going to do. And now he's basically stalled out. He's going down, trying to go head on with John Wick over here. Bad mistake. Then again, he was going to die regardless. And now he starts to roll around, and I just see how much trouble I have trying to hit him. I'm just gonna hose him down because he's one of the last guys. There goes a still control, and that's him out of the match. Well, the game ended on tickets anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Showcases the plane quite well regardless. This is a clip from almost 1.5 years ago. Keep in mind the plane itself hasn't been changed, and I think it's a very good representation of the plane, so I wanted to put this in before the gameplay, which is more of a situational thing. This will show you energy fighting versus Japanese, multiple even. They're all on the deck, I have all the energy in the world, but the airframe is going to hinder me completely. So what do? First things first, up. Always, if you can choose to go up, you go up. Looping over, if they decide to stick with me, they will stall out, I will be able to kill them. And if they just fly straight, easy shot as well. Going 650 IAS here, and I just can't stick with him. Keep in mind the A7M did get changed in the meantime, it got nerfed. So what you see right now, what applies to fighting the A7 right here, will be even better nowadays, because the A7 got nerfed quite heavily. So if the A7M video on my channel as well, it's outdated. Don't keep that thing too hard anymore, it just doesn't represent the plane anymore. So what do? Again, we go up, we outclimb him. He's trying to stall climb, he doesn't try to dive away, he's just hanging in the air, which makes it a pretty easy kill. Shoot its complete tail off, and back up we go. Ki 84. Very good plane, won't have the energy to deal with me. Let's see what he does. I'm just staying above him, hoping for him to pitch up for me. But he doesn't seem too interested in me. He turned into me, making sure that I can dive on him, smart choice, and then he pitches up for me. And now I can just simply go up. Okay, so this is one of the problems with this vehicle. You have to be rather bold to make certain plays in this thing. I can spiral him rather risk-free because his guns are absolute ass. But the Ki 84 is extremely strong, and you have to play very risky in this thing, otherwise you're just not going to get any kills. If you play very passively, if the enemy just doesn't pitch up for you, doesn't stall himself out, you're not going to get any kills. So you have to be bold with this thing, otherwise you won't be effective in it. The best way to fly this thing is probably in a squad, because this thing has so much energy, and you can tell that like I get a hit on him, I compress, he loops around, gets back on my tail, and now I have to outclimb him. I do have more energy and I can outrun him rather safely, but I'm still in his gun range and he has plenty of ammo to just hose me down. So it's a matter of simply wiggling a bit, trying to not get hit by his shells. He unfortunately does hit me, which is the sad truth of this plane. You're not going to be completely untouchable in it. Even though it has so much potential, even though it has so much power, you still have to play this thing very safe to a certain degree and then very aggressive to a certain degree. And I can't really explain it. It's a very weird plane. It's a true one of a kind. Do I recommend this thing in the end? Well, yes and no. It's a very good plane, but it's in the same league of being frustrating. If people dive away from you, if people do not want to fight you, they can ignore you and they can just stay fast and you're never going to kill them. This A6M5 is trying to pitch up for me, notices he won't be able to get a shot there, and he's going right back down to the ocean, which makes it very hard for me to hit him, because if I compress here and I overshoot, I go right into the water. And I'm not feeling like taking a swim right now, and I'm also not feeling sticking with an A6M at the moment. But I have so much more energy right now that I can very easily boom and zoom him relatively safe. It's a lot safer than with the Ki 84, but of course it remains a zero and he's very hard to hit, which is again the main problem with this plane. Just the compression and the fact that the airframe cannot handle the engines. What do? Slight spiral, let him climb, let him turn a bit in that climb so he loses even more speed, and the slower we go, if he goes back to his minimum speed basically, minimum climb speed, I will leave him in the dust completely, as you can tell right now. And he is trying to go back to the carriers, which I'm not very fond of, but I don't think he's actually trying to camp them. He's just trying to bait me into turning around, which is fine with me. He's not really staying over the airfield, he's staying near it, but I'm also not really giving him any options. Of course I can force him to climb towards the airfield in the middle of the map, but all things considered, I'm not leaving him much room to go anywhere else, because I'm cutting off his only escape path. He will have to go near his base regardless, so it's not really his fault. I'm kind of to blame for him being on the airfield. As long as he doesn't dive towards it, I don't really mind it. So now we level out, pick up some energy, get some actual speed in this thing, so I have some maneuverability. Of course not too much speed, because then I lose it again. But what does he do? He turns towards me, and I'm still going straight for a little bit. I go in a very gradual climb, wait for him to be right below me, and then I start turning, because being right above someone makes him bleed even more speed if he tries to pitch up for me. He goes straight, he maintains his speed, which makes it harder for me to get a shot, because he has some maneuverability, he has some speed under those wings to actually move out of the way. And you can tell here, very low effort dodge, and I can't do anything about it. All he has to do is hold S with a slight bit of roll, and I won't be able to hit you. But he bled a lot of speed doing that. I can go straight up, stalling out, not even stalling out, going 300, 1.6 kilometers above him. And versus an A6M that's not coming out of a dive, that's plenty of speed to work with. And you can tell that I'm not diving straight in, because I will compress and I will be so busy trying to not fly into the water that he's either going to be right on me or I'm going to lose a lot of speed. Doing a straight turn, and he rolls a little bit and I can't hit it. Very close shot there, didn't manage to get my gun on, but he again is very nimble and I'm just compressing too much. And now he's flying towards the airfield, which I'm not too much of a fan of, but at least he's chasing me down and not trying to circle it. What do? The same thing as earlier. Bait him into a climb and make him turn a little bit so he bleeds even more speed. The more speed he bleeds, the lower we get, the more of an opportunity I will have to actually bleed him of its energy and then make him a sitting duck. Of course, the A6M is not much of a sitting duck at any speed, but if I get him below 350, then I should be able to kill him just by him being too slow to actually get out of my gun. So I can start shooting a little bit further ranges because he's so slow, and again very effortlessly dodged by him by just turning inside of me above the water. And now he's sticking. This is exactly what I wanted. I have plenty of distance here to get rid of him. He's sticking, he's getting kind of cocky, which is exactly what I wanted. And now he's stalled out right below me. He doesn't have the time to get his speed back up, and I blow him out of the air. If you even still play this game at this point, very nicely flown. Unfortunately for you, this thing has as much energy as you don't need energy to turn. And here we are for the full game, flying with John Wick, or the ultimate gorilla as we know him in VTE over here. And he's gonna play a pretty crucial role, and it's gonna show you this plane's potential when you're with a teammate, because this thing with a teammate is very good. You can bait for each other, you can switch each other off, so one is engaging a guy, and as you pull up, the other P-38 can dive on him or any plane he's in. The P-38K is a very, very strong plane in the group, and even more so with another plane like say a P-59A, a P-51, FOUs, all those kind of planes. They're very good at just pushing people down. Keep that guy in mind, set him on fire, he's going to be diving to the deck, he's going to make it back to his airfield, and he's going to be the last guy I fight actually. If I kill him or not, is I'm not going to spoil that on you yet. And I'm just going to get my altitude back here, because the whole enemy team, because we're fighting Germans on Ruhr, so they actually got an air spawn, so they are a bit higher than they would normally. But I'm just going to keep my altitude a little bit, because I still outclimb most of them completely. I don't actually think there's any German prop that outclimbs you. I know that the Key 83 outclimbs you by a quite significant degree, but you luckily don't see many of those. I will cover that thing in the near future as well, but there's so many planes I have to cover, it kind of makes it hard for something to pick, and I have so many planes in the bank as well as like the footage list that I have. So many planes on there that I just don't know what to fly anymore, but there's plenty of footage to go around for a little bit, so even if I'm not playing, the videos will roll out eventually anyway. Yeah, the boring start of every game in this thing, because you need to wait for people to dive away. You can't really 3v1 at altitude, because they can just dive away and make you miss your shots. So you have to be pretty patient at the start, and the longer the game progresses, the more aggressive you will have to become. And it of course depends on your flight style, and this is one of the good things about the P-38K. These two guys are trying to chase him up. Gorilla Boy here going up, baiting two of them right up. He turns a smoke on, it's like the goddamn banana, and they just can't resist. He turns a smoke on as well, which indicates to me that he's so busy looking at a smoke that he's not paying attention to me. And the G2 notices me in the last second, but he's going like 200. Sorry boy, you're not dodging that. A bit too late. And that's 2 easy kills down. Just from a squad mate pulling them up. Of course, normally you're not going to get a lemming train like that going up for a single guy. But you can see that if someone baits, because this thing is extremely good at baiting. Most of the time when you bait someone, a teammate comes in and takes it, which is very frustrating in terms of getting footage. But it's of course pretty good in terms of winning the game. Here comes the P-47. It's a D-25 because it's of course the German premium one, and it's the same one as the 4.3 D-25 in the US line. So if you know that thing, well, it's the exact same. Same goes for the Russian one. And here we go. 2v2. We have some altitude, we have some energy. P-47 is really keen on taking John over here, fully in the head-on. 109 breaks off to go for him as well, which makes it so that I can re-engage. And when I'm re-engaging, the 109 is, I don't know exactly what he's doing. He's doing a very horizontal turn. I'm not sure, I can't even commentate on this, I don't know what he's doing. He's selling himself out under me. I'm cutting my throttle so that I can turn a little bit tighter and I don't overshoot him. And you can see these flaps, when these flaps come down, this thing starts turning quite tightly. And just as at the start of the game, at the start of the video, versus the 152H, I end up below the other guy because I have so much energy, I simply cannot turn into him. Because he's basically going 200 at this point. The 109 is trying to re-engage John here. I don't really want that. Luckily for me, he's basically flying straight. I still can't aim worth my life in this thing. It's kind of weird having nose mounted 50 cals and the 20 mil. I hit the 20, set him on fire, so I switched to the 50 cals, not to waste more 20 mil ammo. Just too late to help John out here. I think he kept the plane too fast and he kept it too horizontal, which made it so that the P-47 can actually outturn him. If he had kept it in the vertical, if he had kept it slow, he probably would have won. But he hasn't flown that thing in a while, so I'm not too sure what happened there. But the P-47 stunned himself out in front of me. Very easy cleanup, should have a still. Should have left a little bit of 20 in there and he's dead. Now I have two guys right below me, which is a good thing to have. I'm just gonna be climbing, well, negative climb I guess, diving into them, see if one of them wants to pitch up for me. I see one of the guys here. I'm going pretty fast, so I won't be able to get the shot. I just want him to pitch up for me. I don't care about getting the shot here. It's not going to happen anyway. I just want them to bleed their energy. I cut my throttle, loop back over, and then I see the 109. I'm going for the 190. The 190 seems to be pretty aware of me and what my plane can do. So I just switch to the 109 and make this a 1v1. Well, it's still a 2v1, but I'm trying to make this a 1v1 because then I can actually dogfight that guy. Yo, pitch up. I have way more speed than him. There's no chance he's going to get this shot. I'm sorry, but no. 1.2 kilometers. And I have some speed to dodge, so sorry, not going to happen. He's stalling himself out right now. He's still pitching up for some reason. The moment you see you won't get the shot, you have to dive out instantly. And there you go, stalled out, right in my guns. Not a hard shot, and he's dead. Now we do the same thing to the 190, see if he wants to pitch up for me. Probably not, he has been pretty aware of me. That's the guy I set on fire at the start. And what do? I go horizontal, I turn back in. I'm going to try to catch him here. Just gonna shoot my 50 cals, I have plenty of ammo. Get a hit. Just a 50 cal, so I'm not expecting him to blow up from that. I just want him to dodge, I want him to move, I want him to turn, I want him to do something so he doesn't run to the airfield. But he's very adamant on flying right back there, which is extremely annoying, because just fight me fairly, it's one-on-one. You have a plane that can handle mine. But no, you have to opt on sitting on the airfield, even after I already crit you at the start. Just fight. I don't see how this is fun. This is not fun for me. And even if I die, is it rewarding? Because you simply only won because you sat on the airfield. Which is a very common thing nowadays. People really like to just sit on the airfield, not fight, and try to win on tickets or try to win on just AA. And I just don't see the fun in it. What's the point? I fought a 2v10 the other day with Ripjaws, which will also come up on the channel relatively soon here, P-51 D-30. And we didn't use the airfield once, and we won. We didn't need to use the airfield. Sure, it would have been handy, but is it rewarding? Is it fun to let your enemy simply die to some AA, to some RNG? I think it's horrible. I think it's extremely boring, and there is no point in it. Of course, you can get a cheap win out of it. It might help you grind, but in the long run, all you're doing is every learning experience you will be able to get, like when you fight a guy one-on-one, when you have a fight against a plane you maybe don't know that well. When you fight that plane and you get killed, or you kill him, or you fight each other, there is so much to be learned there. But every time there's a learning opportunity for people, they opt to run to the base, they opt to dive away, they ram their plane into the ground because they quote-unquote already lost. I just don't see the point. Just fight. It's more fun, it's more rewarding, and you actually learn something, so it's better in the long run. So it might help you grind faster the next game, because you might actually be able to get a kill. Or maybe reverse someone that you normally would have dove into the ground for. I've won games because people dove themselves into the ground. And why? Because I didn't have enough ammo. Just like the Yak 3U video that I did the other day. I had 12 rounds left at the end of that video, because the Ki 61 committed suicide because he didn't think I deserved the kill. It's fine with me, it gave me the win. Made you think that you won because you denied me the kill. But in reality, I got the kill because of that. And I managed to win. And here we go. D9. I'm right on a 6. I throttle back up. Drop my flaps a little bit. I'm gonna keep my flaps in again because he's gonna try to run. I have so many 50 cal ammo. He might be able to outrun me for a little bit. I do have the acceleration, but the airfield is right there. And now he's starting to turn. And now you die. Very cool. Shoot his wing off. Get hit by A for good measure. And there you have it. P-38K. Tier 4. 5.3 for the Americans. Should you buy it? If you're a novice pilot, definitely not. And even if you're experienced, it's just a very niche plane and I can't really make it out for you. So if you like what you're seeing, feel free to buy it when it comes on sale. If you're a collector, then of course do it as well. I can link the skin in the description because, well, it's outdated and it's not on the site anymore. But one last thing I want to touch on. Yes, I got 7 kill games this game, but keep in mind, I just strafed this guy and I killed 2 people stalling out in front of my teammate, as well as the P-47 that stalled himself out after killing my teammate. So in the end, most of the kills are rubbish. So don't think like the guy I met the other day that thought I got 6 kills per game. Like I wish. Like please let me get 6 kills per game. I'm not anywhere near that. I'm near 2 in this thing. So don't get false hopes. This thing is not very easy to fly. I'm not trying to brag with my 7 kill gamey. I just think this is a very good example of getting kills, because most of the kills you will get in this thing are either amazing dogfights or as people stalling themselves out. Video on the crew points is still in production. Will be pretty short, but I don't want to give ill advice, so I need to do some testing. The reward thing for the 10,000 subscribers, again, thank you for that. Will be a Q&A as per request. I will give you a month or so to submit the questions, but I will make an announcement for that relatively soon here, just so that you don't miss out. There you have it, 190,000 Silver Lions. No boosters, just premium, and I'm resourcing a tier 6. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.